Hey, it's Steve Tomaszewski, and we are live with the Soldiers Family Radio and TV Talk Show with Dan Mudd. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how are you today?
Very well, thank you. You know, we always start our show with a salute out to the troops. If you can't stand behind our troops, we suggest you stand in front of them. One of the questions facing some of our other folks out there in the industry today, Dan, and you know, we've been friends for years, and we'd like to say a special thanks to Standard Banks out there. How many locations?
43 locations.
43, yay!
43.
We like 43. We're looking at the map there behind it. It looks like a ping pong map. They're all over the place.
They are.
And ATM locations. But what's facing a lot of people today with the baby boomers is, do I get a full-time job? Do I get a part-time job? My pension's not there, Social Security's not there. And then all of a sudden, this what we think is a new topic, reverse mortgage, but it's been around for a while, hasn't it?
It's been around for a while. It's been around over 10 years. It's a product that definitely has come full circle. There's a lot more advertisers on television. There's a lot more people talking about it. There's a lot more questions on it, and we're here today just to be able to answer some questions. Probably go over some of the myths that are going on with the reverse mortgage.
There you go. Get that light in.
Get that light in there.
Get that light in there.
Some of the myths that are going on with the reverse mortgage. So we're really here just to kind of go through and make sure that everybody understands some of the realities.
Well, and the nice thing is, too, is that if they have a question, we got the number on the screen right here, 708-341-0342. And Dan, you also have an office at Standard Banks. Where is that located?
My office I work out of is in Manuka, but I actually cover 23 branches for Standard Bank.
23?
23.
That's like half of them.
I'm in and out of half of the branches for Standard Bank. It's true.
Okay, and we're looking at this address. This one address, Standard Bank and Trust Company, 515 West Route 6 in Manuka, Illinois.
Manuka, yep.
60447.
Right.
Manuka, real easy to get. I like the website, too. That's easy to get to. That's just standardbanks.com.
That's correct. Standardbanks.com.
Okay. So now, you know, years back, we had started to look at for my mother, and she went into a nursing retirement home, and then all of a sudden we said, we're going to sell her house, going to take the money, and she's going to live off that. And now, all of a sudden, we looked at it again, and we go, you know what we should have done? We should have looked into reverse mortgages. I mean, how does a person start? Because I would say, you know, myself, because I know you for over 10 years, I know a little bit. But what can you give us in a very direct statement? What is a reverse mortgage, Dan?
A reverse mortgage is a mortgage that allows you to take some of the equity out of your home and either use it for a couple different things, to help eliminate a mortgage payment if you have one, to provide you with a monthly income for life, to open up an equity line to just use it when you need it. So a reverse mortgage gives you a couple options that were really not available in the past, and it's just a great product at a great time. Our seniors are having more and more pressure, more and more issues, and we're just looking to help people understand how it works. So the goal of Standard Banks and the goal of myself and the industry I've been in, we're really looking to make sure that people understand it. So at least they're educated, going to make the right decision. That's our number one goal.
Okay, and so if they can start by going to the website at standardbanks.com.
That's correct.
And then, you know, I'm trying to find a location here. It looks like you got all of Illinois, all the Midwest covered there. You got an ATM on every corner just about.
We do. We have there's 43 locations. We're your neighborhood bank. We've been in the banking world under Standard Bank name since the late 1940s. So I've been around for many years. Great bank. Cover many of the counties here in the Chicagoland market. Most of my clients, I'll either meet them at their home or I meet them at a bank, depending on if they're nearby.
Wait. So even if somebody had a question, well, how much do you charge them to come out to their house?
You don't charge anything to come out for the house.
Really?
It's all about knowledge.
Okay, so if somebody had a question about a reverse mortgage, they could call you. And what is the number they can call you at?
708-341-0342. That's
they go, hi, Dan, I got a question.
Exactly.
Okay, and they go, you know what? We're the kind of people we want to see and talk to you. But you say you don't charge them to come out to the house?
I don't charge them to come out to the house. I don't charge them to meet us in a bed. We don't charge them for anything. We just sit down, have a conversation, make sure. It's all about knowledge.
Wow.
We're interested in knowledge.
And I think one of the other things people don't know out there is that you actually set up like little seminars for people to come out and talk to groups.
We do groups. I work within some of the churches. I do seminars in the churches. I actually do seminars outside the churches. We do them in the banks as well. Yes, we'll come out, talk to a group, I know we're working with your friends at AARP to work on
Go AARP!
There you go. To do a couple seminars for some of the seniors, because really we find it right now. It's knowledge. You have over 10,000 people a day turning 62. That's
how many?
10,000 people a day.
A day.
That's a big number.
Wow. Well, you know what? We also do the show for the state of Illinois VFW, and there's 110,000 members. I'm usually one of the youngest guys there. I'm in the men's auxiliary. You know, that'll make a statement right there. But, you know, maybe we could have you come out to a couple of our VFWs, or we got our state conventions coming up in the second, third week in June, right here in Springfield, Illinois.
Oh, beautiful. That would be...
Then we only get like 5,000-10,000 people come out. Is that good enough to get people together?
That's a nice group of people to
like
talk
that group
to,
of people?
Like
Maybe
that group of people.
Maybe we'll talk about that. Hey, a shout out to our state commander, Bill Phillips. How you doing, State Commander? Great year for you. And State Adjutant Terry Vance. And retiring this year after 39 years, Dan, Bonnie Kohler, 39 years with the VFW of Illinois.
39, that's awesome.
One company, one woman. Bonnie, God bless you. Let's get back to the reverse mortgage. Who are some of the people that you work with at Standard Banks in your mortgage division?
In a mortgage, what banks do we work with?
No, the names of the people that you work with there.
I work with, Kathy Rakowski and I work in the reverse mortgage division. The two of us work reverse mortgages. Nick Parisi is the senior vice president.
Hi, Nick Parisi.
He's the man that makes it all happen.
Okay. And Nick's been around the industry for a while. Back in the day when I was in wholesale mortgage banking, Nick, very prominent individual in the banking community. So that's a good thing to hear, that the same people that we've known and trust all these years are now with another great institution, Standard Bank and Trust.
Right. It's
and
nice.
Reverse mortgage. So, well, let me see if I get this straight. If I have a question about a reverse mortgage for myself, my parents, my next door neighbor, we can call you and just ask anything we want.
Any question at all, and they do it all the time. The phone rings all day. I get questions all day. Sometimes people are just trying to investigate. They're not really, they're at the surface. They're just trying to scratch it and understand a little bit, and they may not call me back for 6 months. And then there's some people that have an immediate need. Everybody's a little different. I've had people call me back after 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years?
2 or 3 years. They've called back and said, okay, it's time for us to sit down and move forward. But if you have a question in the meantime, either for yourself or for a family member, mom's still at the house, wants to stay in the house, that's the number one goal.
I think the anxiety, it's the same thing we have with the Bob Rohrman Auto Dealership Group. There's always that level of anxiety that the people just aren't sure, and they go, well, gee, let me see if I got this right. My mom or father's home is paid off. They're barely getting by. And now they're in their 60s, they're in their 70s, they're in their 80s. The home is paid off. They want to do things, either maybe they want new windows for the house, maybe they want a new furnace, maybe they want a new garage.
Right.
And maybe they just want to fix up the backyard and do some, they can't do it, and they go, you know what, I'm going to pay somebody to do it. And that few extra dollars a month, how would that actually work? How do they go about starting an application? You said you come out to the house.
Come out to the house.
Now, can the son and daughter listen to the conversation too?
I encourage the family to be involved.
You encourage the family? I like that. I like that.
The more people involved, the better the understanding is, the better it is for everybody. We don't want to have somebody not understand or not have it make sense. My clients range from 62. My oldest client is 96 that got a reverse mortgage. So
wow.
quite a bit of age gap in there. So everybody's a little different. Love to have the family involved.
Okay, so let's say that mom and dad and son and daughter-in-law, son-in-law, everybody comes over, we're sitting at the table, and they go, okay, we're going to do this, and the house let's use a hypothetical figure of a $200,000 home.
Okay.
Paid for. God bless them. Now, Standard Bank and Trust, number one, they're a bank.
We are a bank.
So they're not going anywhere.
Correct.
They're not a broker.
No, we're a bank. We're a bank.
43 locations.
Right, bank, right.
Yeah, tons and tons of ATMs. They're a bank.
Right.
So, okay, we got that going. Now, you're also under all the federal, all the state laws. Everybody's watching you. No funny business going on.
Correct.
Okay, so we got that done. Now we have this $200,000 home, and I'm sure somewhere in there has to be an appraisal of what a third party might think what the home is worth. Some might think it's worth $180,000. The son and daughter-in-law always think it's worth $800,000.
Right.
So how do you get the house appraised? I mean,
here's the process.
Okay, here's the process.
I sit
Here we
down.
go.
I generally
I'm excited.
I sit down with a couple like today.
Okay.
I was down in at our Coal City branch.
Coal City, we like Coal City. Hi, Coal City.
Sat down with a couple, and the big picture is we sit down, we take a look at your particular situation based on your age and your property value. A reverse mortgage is not based on your income or your assets.
Wait. So they don't have to have, a couple $100,000 money in the bank to get a reverse mortgage?
A lot of my clients, there's clients that can't afford to pay for the appraisal. I mean, everybody's different in the world that we live in today.
Okay, so
no money requirements.
And even if they're retired, they don't need to go out and get a job to get a reverse mortgage?
No, there's no income, there's no asset, there's no credit right now on a reverse mortgage.
Okay, so let's continue. You're sitting there.
Right.
And you're in Coal City, not to pick on these people, but let's say, any
talking
city.
to some clients, we do a preliminary. We look at what their ages are, if they have a mortgage balance, if they're still making a payment on the property.
Let's say the house is paid for.
House is paid for.
Home has been paid for the last 10 years.
Okay, then we would look at three options. We would look at if they're looking for monthly income. There's just not enough enough income to get through all the weeks in a month.
And you know what? Let me attest to that because, a lot of times now, people were counting on pensions. Some of those pensions are gone.
Correct.
They were counting on them. They're gone.
Correct.
All they have now is possibly some Social Security.
And that's Social Security without, we just took a raise, I believe this year, Social Security finally took a bump after 3 years, but again, we sit down, we talk about the pros and cons, I get them some information. I really want to do education the first time and literally cut them loose. Here's the facts. If you want to continue, great, give me a call. But
so you're actually encouraging them to shop and inform themselves.
Understanding is key, right?
Okay.
Right.
Well, we like that because now here's mom and dad, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, son and daughter. Everybody's sitting there going, hey, you know what? Now we all agree on it. Let's say the whole family agrees on it. Now you're about to take the application. Is there an application fee?
There's no application fee.
So let me get this straight. You're willing to go out and talk to people. You're willing to sit down with them and their family.
Right.
The whole family.
Right.
And say, here's what we're doing. And then they're going, call me when you want me to come back. And they go, let's get. And then there's not even an application fee.
Nobody writes us a check from beginning to end of a reverse mortgage. There's costs involved in a reverse mortgage, but there's no money out of pocket. There's no how much money do I have to come up with, or I have to pay for the appraisal or anything. We cover everything up front on a reverse mortgage.
Okay.
But it's important that they understand it. So meeting number one, conversation, give them some paperwork, here's some facts, take it home, read about it. If you want to move forward, call me back, we'll sit back down and we'll move forward from there. So everybody gets from me, they get a preliminary, here's the facts, please take it home and think about what we're doing, get the people involved.
Make sure it's right for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we do that and everybody's happy and they want to move forward. Can we use some hypothetical figures? We're not going to hold you to these. Okay.
Hypothetical.
But if somebody had a 200, now who says what the home is worth? I think that's a big question to people.
It's a great question.
Who actually appraises the home?
FHA has appraisers they use to appraise the homes.
Okay.
And getting back to your hypothetical, mom and dad live in a home that's worth $200,000. We happen to be in Lombard today, so we use Lombard.
Okay, 60148.
Home is paid for, and they're looking for an equity line. They just want to be able to open up an equity line so when their tax bill comes due, or they need to put a roof on the house, or their furnace might go.
They want to go visit their children in Texas.
Right. They want to be able to access it.
They want to fly. They don't want to drive anymore. They want to fly, and they want to fly in business class. They want to get a nice rental car, and they want to get down there. And sometimes airlines tickets are $300, $400, $500, $1,000.
So their line of credit that they would be able to open, $200,000 home. Mom and dad are both 70. They'd have access to, generally speaking, about 60% of the home's value. So in this case, they'd get an equity line for about $120,000.
Okay, let's stop you right there.
Okay.
So let's review. Number one, you're willing to answer any questions. And number two, you're willing to come out to the home and talk to the whole family.
Correct.
Number three, after the application, you're going to get the home appraised. Now, who pays for the appraisal?
Well, the client inevitably pays for the appraisal. We cover the appraisal up front on our reverse mortgages.
And what if they change their mind and decide they don't want to do it and they're going to do something else?
If they've ordered the appraisal,
right,
then they pay for the appraisal. We do hold
and
them.
How much are appraisals these days? $3,000, $4,000,
No. They're $300-$400.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not bad at all. There's no major cost involved in figuring out if it works for
Can the client call their best friend, next door neighbor appraiser and get him to do it or her to do it?
Unfortunately, the world's shifted, Steve. That's not allowed anymore. Everything's regulated. HUD or FHA sends out the appraisals. We order them, and there's no conversation. It's just whatever the house is worth, it's worth.
But then they always have the appraisal.
always have the appraisal. That's correct.
Okay, so after they had changed their minds, they paid their $300 or $400, they have the physical appraisal in their
Correct.
hand.
Correct. They paid
And
for
that's
it. They
a
own it.
real solid value of what that home is selling for today.
Today's world, right?
Okay, so we're going with it. Let's go back now and say the appraisal came in, let's say at $198,000.
198.
And they're going, you know what, we really don't need the money as an equity line, but we'd like to have a residual money coming in, you know, because we're only getting X from Social Security and a couple $100 from our pension. We really like a monthly income coming in. So now how much of that equity
Let's say that those numbers might translate to somebody receiving $600 or $700 a month.
Okay.
And really what we look for in that instance is we're looking for the house to sustain itself.
Okay.
So we get enough monthly income to pay the tax bill, the utilities, the homeowner's insurance. That's really what people are looking for. They want to stay in their home and kind of eliminate the expenses of being in the home.
Okay. Well, in this case, the home is paid for.
Home's paid for.
The taxes just may be here in Lubber, any city, maybe $400 or $500 a month.
Correct.
And insurance is another 100, just for the sake of
100%
discussion.
right.
So already just to walk in that door every month, you're right, $600-700 a month.
Right.
You know, cutting the grass, that's what it costs just to put the key in the door. So there's $700. So the most they can draw is $700 a month.
It's based on their age and their home's value, but we're just using a for instance right now. That's probably a range. So if it's 700, this Lombard couple, the reality is that 700 probably helps the house sustain for itself. So their Social Security, their $1,200, $1,500, $1,800 a month they got coming in Social Security, that is their money for them, right? And the house is paying for itself.
Well, if you think about that, let's just use that term, and that's just about what it was for my mom. Was just about $1,500 a month, and it was causing her close to $700 a month just to stay in a home that was paid for.
Right.
And you know, a little over $175 a week doesn't go very far at all.
No, it doesn't. That's the issue.
If you double that to $400 a week, and because with the reverse mortgage from Standard Bank and Trust, you know, that's a big burden. That's like 50% of their income just going to open the doors.
Right.
That's not even utilities or, you know, going to the grocery store.
Right. It's just staying in the house. They're just looking to stay. Most of my clients just want to stay in their home. They're not looking for anything crazy. They don't want to go buy a new car. They don't want anything fancy. They literally just want to be able to continue to afford to stay. A majority of my clients are paid for homes. A majority of my clients have been in their home for 30 or more years. That's the market
that's exciting.
That we're in right now. It is. I mean, people are looking to stay. Something we didn't hit on that we obviously will discuss is, you know, what happens when mom and dad move out of the house.
Right.
Because the number one question is going to come up is what happens to the rest of the equity? Like, where's the rest of the money go?
Let's go with that. Let's answer that question. Let's cross that bridge. Let's say they've gone ahead with Standard Bank and Trust and gotten a reverse mortgage, and it's 5 years later, and mom and dad have moved on. They've gone. They've passed away, and now what happens to the house?
Well, let's look at this Lombard couple for a minute.
Okay.
Let's say this Lombard couple, for easy numbers, got $700 a month, which is $8,400 a year.
Okay.
They lived there for 5 years, so they got $45,000 they owe. Let's say it's another $5,000 in interest. Let's just say it's $50,000 is what they owe at this point in their reverse mortgage.
Okay.
Their house in that 5 years has not gone up or down. It's
Let's
just
say
flat.
it stayed at one.
Stayed at 200.
$198,000.
198.
That was the FHA appraisal.
Yeah, that was the FHA appraisal. All right.
Okay, 198. $50,000 is gone.
Right. So
now we're down to 148,000.
Kids are going to sell the home.
Now home sells for 148. Now what happens?
Home sells for 198.
198.
The reverse mortgage is paid off first. The balance of the equity, the 148, goes to mom and dad's estate. Goes to the kids, goes to the grandkids, goes to the church. Always mom and dad's home. They always stay on title. It's always theirs.
So you actually encourage the family to be on title?
No, the mom and dad are always on title.
Oh, mom and dad.
Mom and dad are always on title. The bank never takes the title. There's nothing. We don't go on title. We're just a lien. It's just a mortgage. Mom and dad always own the house.
So it's really just like a line of credit and a guaranteed income.
Correct.
Wow. Wow. And you know what, folks? We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Dan Mudd at Standard Bank and Trust talking about reverse mortgages. If you have a question for Dan, give him a call at 1-608. I'm looking for that number there. 341 0342. We'll be right back with the Soldiers Family Radio and TV Talk Show with our guest today, Dan Mudd with Standard Bank and Trust.